Ryan Manchee here with Basis Technologies. I am sitting down with the great Michael Kaye, head of global communications with OkCupid. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited. So I feel like OkCupid is a brand that many people are familiar with, and I think how they're familiar with it is a lot of the great marketing, a lot of the great advertising. So it's something to be very, very proud of. What do you think makes the OkCupid brand great?
I think for us, we've done a really great job at capitalizing on what's top of mind for different generations. We have been around for almost 20 years, and people don't realize that our marketing didn't begin until 2017. So we're still very much in our infancy from a marketing perspective. We're always testing new strategies, but we're not afraid to be controversial. We're not afraid to cross the line. We're really not afraid to say what everyone's thinking. And I think that's really evident from one of our first campaigns, which was our DTF campaign. That campaign was all about telling people, we are OkCupid, we're here, and we flipped the script on a really popular acronym with phrases like down to fight the patriarchy. And we leaned really heavily into what millennials were talking about. So I think the OkCupid brand story is so closely tied to our consumers and who we're targeting in a really authentic way that is a little bit more groundbreaking, viral, controversial than any other brands in our category.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like, the provocativeness, and then also, like you said, what people are talking about, what they're passionate about to really connect and have that authentic connection is just fantastic. You talk about your team and the marketing team at OkCupid. It's not huge, which do you feel like that lends to y'all's ability to be able to be more nimble and move faster and having a lot of that functionality and maybe wearing many different hats? You feel like that's accurate? And any additional examples of how you've worked through that?
Absolutely, yes. So we are a global brand. We have millions of users in over 110 countries all around the world. Our marketing team is only a couple people. So it very much feels like a startup. And that definitely comes with its challenges, but where I think it really helps us is we get to be really scrappy and turnkey, unlike any of our competitors. So a great example is during the summer of 2020, we were watching what was happening all across the United States, and we decided as a brand that really pays close attention to social justice issues, we had to do something about the Black Lives Matter movement. We put out a statement. That's great. Any brand can do that. But we wanted to figure out a way to go further with that. And we were the first dating app to create profile badges. It helps us allow our users to signal what's important to them to other daters on our platform. So we decided to launch a Black Lives Matter profile badge for our users in the United States, as well as several different countries all around the world. These badges typically take somewhere between 3 to 6 months of planning between marketing and product. We had this idea on a Tuesday afternoon, and the entire company stopped everything that they were working on to get this badge up and running. We announced it, and it was live in the app by Thursday morning.
That's incredible.
So we went from 3 to 6 months of planning to 72 hours. And I think it's because we're so small and we're so nimble and we can work really quickly. And that's one thing I've always loved about OkCupid. We've launched campaigns and gone from the pitch of the campaign to announcement in less than a week.
That is remarkable. Definitely something to be proud of. I feel like not only the message, which is incredibly important, but be able to move that fast and be able to have the idea, be able to iterate, and see a great level of success with it. So that's fantastic. I feel like that is a great example of how you can differentiate, how you can move so fast. This is a crowded market for the industry that you're in. How does OkCupid, how do you all differentiate yourselves to those potential daters that are out there? Why OkCupid? What does that look like, and how does that impact from a brand messaging perspective?
Yeah, so I read a recent report that said there's about 1,500 dating apps, so it's definitely a crowded market. But we're doing something right if we've been around for 18 years. Our core product differentiator is our in-app matching questions. We're the only dating app in the world that has these questions, and our matching questions power our algorithm in how we're connecting people. So the more questions you answer, the more compatible your match is. When you see another user on OkCupid, you will see a match percentage with them. If you click that, it shows you where you agree and where you disagree, because not everything is weighted the same. I don't need a partner who loves horror movies as much as me, but I do need a partner who believes climate change is real and it's happening. So our questions are really how we stand out. And when you create an account on OkCupid, we force you to answer 15 of our questions, although most people go on to answer dozens and dozens more. And on that piece, there's no question that's mandatory. So you can skip a question if it's irrelevant to you or it makes you uncomfortable. It's just not your jam. Mm-hmm. But our questions also help us to adapt to a rapidly changing landscape to new generations. I mean, again, we were launched almost 2 decades ago. Those users are very different than the users who are on our app today. So if there's a question or if there's a topic that I'm talking about with my friends or my family or my coworkers, chances are it's really important to people and they're talking about it on their dating app. So with our questions, we can, remain really relevant and really timely and almost create a customized, personalized experience for all our daters around the world. So we have localized questions in over 30 markets, because what's top of mind to a user in Austin or New York City is very different than someone in London, Mumbai, Tel Aviv, or wherever they are. So we have localized questions. We also have questions tailored to the LGBTQ plus community. Even within that category of questions, there are questions for bisexual users, questions for gay users. So it really allows us to create this unique experience for every single dater. And I think that's really our core product differentiator and really how we stand apart. You're coming to OkCupid if you're taking dating a little bit more seriously. You're looking for a longer term partner.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So across the advertising industry, there is a greater interest and utilization in data. And you start talking about the data that you've got on individuals. It's like, okay, this is the marketer is, oh my gosh, there's a gold mine of data, but it's also, there's a level of trust that you all create with your users, with the folks that are using that. How have you all embraced the utilization of some of that data while maintaining that trust from an advertising and marketing perspective? And are there ideas that you all have talked about in the future to potentially capitalize on that while, again, maintaining that trust?
Absolutely. So data drives everything we're doing from a communications marketing standpoint. Our data comes from our responses to our questions. They were answered 500 million times in 2022 alone, almost 10 billion times since we've launched. So we're sitting on a ton of rich data, but there's no unique identifier tied to that data. So when we look at responses to our questions, we'll see something like 80% of people said this, 20% said that. We have no idea who those people are. We do know if they're based in New York City or Los Angeles or New York versus New Jersey or United States versus Israel, but there's nothing that indicates who the user is. There's no names, no email, whatever information. It's simply how you're responding to our questions. And that data inspires our brand campaigns, our advertising campaigns. It inspires who we partner with from a nonprofit standpoint, but also other brands. So we're always looking back to our data, but again, it's super general, it's raw numbers, nothing tied to any specific person, which is what you want.
Yeah.
It's what I would want from a user.
That's very cool. So we're here in Austin at South by Southwest. Brand Innovators, amazing event, great content. Hearing a lot of different things, whether it's things around AI and artificial intelligence. What have you seen? What have you been really excited about over the last several days that's really getting you focused and energized for the year ahead?
Yeah, it's been a lot of incredible programming here this weekend. Really great work from Brand Innovators. I'm really excited about all these brand marketers, communicators, journalists, whomever is here, not shying away from these really tough topics within the tech industry, especially as it relates to AI. I think when we see these emerging platforms and tools arise, there's always panic that covers the industry, how it's going to impact my life, both as a consumer, but also as an employee. We've seen a lot of conversation around, is AI going to take my job? How it's going to impact my day-to-day? And I do feel like there's always a moment where the dust settles and we learn to adapt to these new tools. One way we did that at OkCupid, going back to our questions, is I wanted to test something with AI on our platform. First of all dating apps are really using AI in general for years. We use AI tools for moderation to make sure there's no bad behavior happening on our apps. But I was really focused on ChatGPT. That's obviously been dominating a lot of conversations in media and across social. And I started to ask our daters via our in-app matching questions how they felt about these tools. And one interesting data point that came out of that is that users on OkCupid who felt ChatGPT was really helpful to them versus being a little bit too big brother got 40% more matches than those who were uncertain about it. So I thought, okay, this is something our daters are comfortable with. They're open to this. Let's open ChatGPT and have that platform draft matching questions for us. And we had about half a dozen added to the app to start. We wanted to see how users responded to it. And it was, those questions were answered hundreds of thousands of times at launch. People responded really well to them. And we actually are now committed to adding new questions that are generated by ChatGPT every single month for the rest of 2023. And we were able to get a lot of press coverage on it. So Fast Company, Business Insider, Mashable, all covering feature stories for OkCupid. And as a communicator, that's a huge win when we get to dominate the headlines and also craft a story that's so ownable to our brand that no competitor can insert themselves into the conversation.
I love that. That's amazing. And again, another example of how you all have been able to move so fast. The one final question for you. If you had a magic wand and could change anything within the advertising marketing industry, what would that be, Michael?
I would say, and I think we're already getting here, a little bit more authenticity. Especially over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of brands comment on DE&I or specific issues like Stop Asian Hate, rise in anti-Semitism, Black Lives Matter. And I think those statements are great for visibility, but I would also love to see those values reflected in who they're partnering with from advertisers, marketers. Are they working with diverse teams? Are their hiring practices reflecting that? Are they donating money, even if they're being public about it, that's fine with me, to different nonprofit organizations? Are they bringing DE&I experts and other experts into the conversation? So at OkCupid, before we launch product features, before we launch campaigns, we're obviously reviewing all that work internally, but so is the Human Rights Campaign and Planned Parenthood and ACLU and GLAAD and other partners, because we might have a platform that can raise awareness of these incredible organizations, but we understand we're not the experts. So I would love for everyone to recognize that they're not the experts either, and to share the stage with people who are.
I love it. I love it. I would say the magic wand could just be look at what OkCupid is doing and borrow some of the great areas of focus and innovation and just nimbleness to be able to move so fast and get behind great causes that we should all care about. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
It was an honor to be here.